is David Dusek, senior writer for Golfweek magazine, and I'm joined by my good friend Dean Takel, who's the PGA Tour manager for Callaway Golf. Dean, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing? I'm a lot better after last week.
I bet. Patrick Reed won the Wyndham Championship, and you're once again inside the winner's circle, and thanks very much for Dean for joining me this week. Let me tell you a little bit about the golf equipment that Patrick had in his bag down there in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we'll then talk a little bit more about it. Patrick's driver was a Callaway FT Optiforce 440 with 9.5 degrees of loft and an Aldila Rogue shaft. His irons, there were no fairway woods, no hybrids, and we'll get into that. His irons were a Callaway X-Forged 2-iron bent to 15 degrees of loft. Then he had another 2-iron and a 4-iron. He also had Callaway Razor X MB irons, a 5-through pitching wedge there. All those irons had True Temper dynamic gold shafts. His wedges were Callaway Mack Daddy 2s, a 50, a 56, and a 60-degree wedge. Those had True Temper dynamic gold shafts as well. Patrick's putter was an Odyssey White Hot Pro number 3, and Patrick's golf ball of choice is a Callaway Hex Chrome Plus. Since he's new to you guys, he just joined Callaway Golf in May, the Byron Nelson Championship, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Tell me a little bit about the fitting process and working with Patrick and about the club he's got there.
This is, we came out with the Optiforce. We tested it at I guess it was the Charlotte event at Wells Fargo. Tested very well, so we brought it out here on tour. It's our most played driver on tour now. Patrick is a little unique in that his is 44¼ inches long, which is at least 3/4, if not almost a full inch shorter than most guys play out here. Patrick, as you can probably see over the weekend, he's not short by any means. He generates a lot of club head speed. It's a quick swing, and the shorter length in driver helps him with his shot dispersion. It keeps him tighter in the fairway. The Optiforce, as a general rule, the Optiforce launches a little higher and spins a little bit more, so he can play the shorter length and still have the overall distance. But since Patrick's gone to the driver, he's played in 3 events since he's gone to the driver, had 2 top 10s and 1 win. So I think it's working for him.
I think the fit is pretty good. Something else that's kind of unique is that he had obviously two irons in his bag. Now, one of those 2 irons, as I mentioned before, is really kind of a 1-iron. What happened with that? How did that sort of come about? And is that unusual for you guys to get a request for the old butter knife?
I got a call, or actually a text from Patrick the week before saying he and his instructor had decided that let's try basically a 1-iron. Mm-hmm. We no longer make 1-irons in a set. I mean, now it's utility irons or hybrids or whatever. Right. So I said, what we have to do is take a 2-iron and build it like a 1-iron. So we have to grind the bounce back on it. The loft is changed now. Then you have to also change the offset because the loft changes. So it's not as simple as just bending it forward and de-lofting. No, it's not, because you changed the bounce and the offset. And also the weight of a 2-iron head is obviously more than the weight of a 1-iron head, so the grinding helped a little bit there.
Gotcha.
But no, it's an intensive process, but it can be done, and we did it right here on the van.
Do you think that the popularity could increase? There have been some other players on the PGA Tour this year who have dabbled in 1-irons and such like that, and extremely lower lofted irons, usually around events, for example, like the British Open, when guys are playing in particularly windy conditions, they want to keep the ball low and into the wind. Do you see this as sort of a trend where guys are more open to that kind of stuff, or do you think that just guys are more willing to tinker around with things these days as opposed to before?
I think it's course specific.
Okay.
I think that's all it is. I really think it's player specific and course specific. And I think obviously Patrick, again, being strong enough, he can move a 1-iron and he can hit it out there. He was out there longer than a lot of guys 3 woods, with the 1-iron. So he doesn't lack the distance, and the steel shaft and the shorter club also help the shot dispersion. So
really tight fairways.
Sure.
Yeah, I hate it when my irons out drive my opponents. So thanks a lot.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, I appreciate your help this week, Dean. And once again, this is David Dusek for Golfweek magazine. You've been inside the winner's circle.